That one friend who always asks the hard questions that everyone else is thinking but is too afraid to ask. That is Habakkuk. Um, so that is what we're getting into today. We're getting into the book of Habakkuk. Habakkuk. I don't know how you exactly say it. I've heard it pronounced several different ways, but we're only going to have one day here. There's only 3 chapters. So we will dive into that. Chapter 1. The pronouncement that the prophet Habakkuk saw. How long, Lord, must I call for help and you do not listen? Or cry out to you about violence and you do not save? Why do you force me to look at injustice? Why do you tolerate wrongdoing? Oppression and violence are right in front of me. Strife is ongoing and conflict escalates. This is why the law is ineffective. The injustice never emerges. For the wicked restrict the righteous, therefore justice comes out perverted. Look at the nations and observe, be utterly astounded, for I am doing something in your days that you will not believe. When you hear about it, look, I am raising up the Chaldeans, that bitter, impetuous nation that marches across the earth's open spaces to seize territories not its own. They are fierce and terrifying. Their views of justice and sovereignty stem from themselves. Their horses are swifter than leopards and more fierce than wolves of the night. Their horsemen charge ahead. Their horsemen come from distant lands. They fly like eagles, swooping to devour. All of them come to do violence. Their faces are set in determination. They gather prisoners like sand. They mock kings, and rulers are a joke to them. They laugh at every fortress and build siege ramps to capture it. Then they sweep by like the wind and pass through. They are guilty. Their strength is their God. Are you not from eternity, Lord my God, my Holy One? You will not die. Lord, you appointed them to execute judgment, my rock. You destined them to punish us. Your eyes are too pure to look on evil, and you cannot tolerate wrongdoing. So why do you tolerate those who are treacherous? Why are you silent while one who is wicked swallows up one who is more righteous than himself? You have made mankind like the fish of the sea, like marine creatures that have no ruler. The Chaldeans pull them all up with a hook, catch them in their dragnet, and gather them in their fishing net. This is why they are glad and rejoice. This is why they sacrifice to their dragnet and burn incense to their fishing net. For by these things their portion is rich and their food plentiful. Will they therefore empty their net and continually slaughter nations without mercy? Question, or not question, chapter 2. I will stand at my guard post and station myself on the lookout tower. I will watch to see what he will say to me and what I should reply about my complaint. The Lord answered me, write down this vision, clearly inscribe it on tablets so one may easily read it. For the vision is yet for the appointed time. It testifies about the end and will not lie. Though it delays, wait for it, since it will certainly come and not be late. Look, his ego is inflated. He is without integrity, but the righteous one will live by his faith. Moreover, wine betrays an arrogant man, is never at rest. He enlarges his appetite like Sheol, and like death he is never satisfied. He gathers all the nations to himself. He collects all the peoples to himself for himself. Will all these take up a taunt against him? With mockery and riddles about him, they will say, woe to him who amasses what is not his, how much longer, and loads himself with goods taken in pledge. Won't your creditors suddenly arise, and those who disturb you wake up? Then you will become spoil for them. Since you have plundered many nations, all the peoples who remain will plunder you. Because of human bloodshed and violence against lands, cities, and all who live in them. Woe to him who dishonestly makes wealth for his house, to place his nest on high. To escape the grasp of disaster, you have planned shame for your house by wiping out many peoples and sinning against your own self. For the stones will cry out from the wall, and the rafters will answer me. From the woodwork, woe to him who builds a city with bloodshed and founds a town with injustice. It is not from the Lord of armies that the peoples labor to fuel the fire, and countries exhaust themselves for nothing. For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the Lord's glory as the water covers the sea. Woe to him who gives his neighbors drink, pouring out your wrath and even making them drunk in order to look at their nakedness. You will be filled with disgrace instead of glory. You also drink and expose your uncircumcision. The cup in the Lord's right hand will come around to you, and utter disgrace will cover your glory, for your violence against Lebanon will overwhelm you. The destruction of animals will terrify you. Because of your human bloodshed and violence against land, cities, and all who live in them. What use is a carved idol after its craftsman carves it? It is only a cast image, a teacher of lies. For the one who crafts its shape trusts in it and makes worthless idols that cannot speak. Woe to him who says to wood, wake up, or to mute stone, come alive. Can it teach? Look, it may be plated with gold and silver, yet there is no breath in it at all. But the Lord is in his holy temple. Let the whole earth be silent in his presence. Chapter 3. A prayer of the prophet Habakkuk according to according to Shigionoth. It threw me off. If you're seeing on the screen the bold, it looked like a section title. Lord, I have heard the report about you. Lord, I stand in awe of your deeds. Revive your work in these years. Make it known in these years. In your wrath, remember mercy. God comes from Timon, the Holy One from Mount Paran. His splendor covers the heavens, and his earth is full of his praise. His brilliance is like a light. Rays are flashing from his hand. This is where his power is hidden. Plague goes before him, and pestilence follows in his steps. He stands and shakes the earth. He looks and startles the nations. The age-old mountains break apart. The ancient hills sink down. His pathways are ancient. I see the tents of Cushan in distress. The tent curtains of the land of Midian tremble. Are you angry at the rivers, Lord? Is your wrath against the rivers, or is your fury against the sea? When you ride on your horses, you are your victorious chariot. You took the sheath from your bow. The arrows are ready to be used with an oath. You split the earth with rivers. The mountains see you and shudder. A downpour of water sweeps by. The deep roars with its voice and lifts its waves high. Sun and moon stand still in their lofty residence. At the flash of your flying arrows, at the brightness of your shining spear, you march across the earth with indignation. You trample down the nations in wrath. You come out to save your people, to save your anointed. You crush the leader of the house of the wicked and strip him from foot to neck. You pierce his hands with his own spears. His warriors storm out to scatter us, gloating as if ready to secretly devour the weak. You tread the sea with your horses, stirring up the vast water. I heard, and I trembled within my lips, quivered at the sound. Rottenness entered my bones. I trembled where I stood. Now I must quietly wait for the day of distress to come against the people invading us. Though the fig tree does not bud, and there is no fruit on the vines, though the olive crop fails, and the fields produce no food, though the flocks disappear from the pen, and there are no herds in the stalls, yet I will celebrate in the Lord. I will rejoice in the God of my salvation. The Lord of my Lord is my strength. He makes my feet like those of a deer, and enables me to walk on mountain heights. For the choir director on stringed instruments. So, that is it for Habakkuk. Reading wise, let's get into our questions. Question 1. How does Habakkuk's willingness to question God challenge or encourage your own prayer life? I think this should be for us to realize that we can be honest in our prayers. We don't have to tiptoe. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be completely buttoned up. Like you can be raw in your prayer. You can be emotional. You can it doesn't have to Like if you're angry, you can tell God that you're angry, right? um, I think we see that in this book, and especially kind of towards the beginning. I don't think it's wrong. I think it's good. I think God wants us to ask questions. We naturally ask questions. There's frustration that happens naturally in instances, and that frustration isn't wrong by itself. I think that can lead to things that are wrong, lead to bad actions or inaction that can be wrong. But the frustration itself isn't necessarily wrong. Question 2. What does it mean to live by faith when God's timing and justice don't align with our expectations? Ultimately, we've talked about what faith is. The word I'm blanking. Pistis. The word pistis is faith, and it's not a blind faith. It's not like taking action without having any evidence. It is rather a belief based on evidence. So, be like, I've used the example before. I travel for work, and I have faith that I'm going to get on an airplane and it will take me to where I need to go. Why is that? Well, because I've traveled on airplanes before. I know the basics of aerodynamics of how a plane is able to get into the air and things like that. I've seen planes before. I know other people that have been on planes before. So I have a belief, I have a faith that I will get on the plane and go where I'm supposed to go, but it's based on evidence. So there is still a trust component of that. You're trusting that the evidence is pointing in the right direction and everything's going to be the same this time. And same thing, you're trusting that God is who he says he is, but we have faith that he is who he says he is because he has demonstrated that through his word, through his actions in our lives and things of that nature. So living by faith means, see, I put this in my book coming up. What is it? Patience is waiting in God's place and going at God's pace. I think is how I said it. I wrote that chapter a while back, but essentially, it's trusting God both in the actions, the timing, everything. Trusting God. Question 3. How can Habakkuk's final prayer in chapter 3 serve as a model for trusting God in uncertain times? I think so. He, in this prayer, even though he doesn't know what's going on, he's talking about the having confidence in God and who God is and God's character. He's going to provide for. He's going to take care of him. He's going to take care of the situation, even if it may not go the way that he is thinking it should go or the way that he wants it to go. I do think that there is. We see this too with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. There was we know our God can save us, but even if he doesn't, that even if is a very, very powerful statement. They knew God had the ability to save them. They did not know if God was going to save them. And willingness to still stand flat-footed in the face of whatever comes, not trusting that God's going to save you physically in that moment, trusting that God is going to take care of the situation. You may not be saved in the moment. Maybe that's God's will. It's crazy to say. It's kind of can be hard to hear for some people, but maybe that's God's will. Maybe something better is going to come out of that. Just look at, I've brought this up a couple times, but it's like massive right now. The impact of Charlie Kirk. He had a pretty massive impact in his life. Look at the impact we've seen since his death. That football stadium sold out with people surrounding the stadium. The gospel preached for hours on end. Hours on end. Like, I've seen tons of people talking about going to church for the first time, or going back to church they went when they were younger, or getting a Bible and reading the Bible again and things like that. It's nuts. In a very, very good way. In a very good way. So that could be something. Maybe God is going to use that to benefit others somehow. It's complicated and it's not always easy, especially, people that are left behind. But yeah, it's good stuff. Be honest in your prayers. Take that from today. Be honest. Be vulnerable in your prayers. God already knows what you're thinking. He already knows what you're feeling. So if nothing else, be honest. Be vulnerable in your prayers. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as all those things help the channel grow. If this has been a blessing to you, you can share it with somebody else. It can be a blessing to them, and word of mouth is the best way that podcasts grow as well. So that can be something that helps this channel as well. Come back every single day. We're going to have more content every single day. Bible reading plan. We're going through the Bible an entire year, different teachings, all kinds of just really great biblical sound stuff like that. So you're not going to want to miss it. Come back, subscribe. Thanks. God bless.